A 67-year-old man sat across from me in my office not long ago. He looked healthy. He felt healthy. And he had just been told something that gave him complete peace of mind. His doctor said, "Your blood sugar is normal." He smiled and told me he wasn't worried about diabetes anymore. But 6 months later, that same man suffered a minor stroke. When we reviewed his records, we discovered something that shocked him. The warning signs had been there for years, hidden inside blood sugar levels that were still being called normal. If you're over 60, what I'm about to share could completely change the way you think about your blood sugar, your brain health, your heart health, and even your future risk of dementia. Because today you'll discover why normal blood sugar may not be as safe as you've been led to believe, why some of the most important studies ever conducted revealed risks long before diabetes develops, and the exact blood sugar range many longevity experts aim for after age 60. But there's also an important warning near the end of this video for anyone taking diabetes medication. What you'll learn could literally protect you from a dangerous mistake that many older adults make every day. Before we begin, if you're interested in healthy aging, longevity, disease prevention, and staying mentally sharp and physically independent as you get older, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, I share evidence-based health advice designed specifically for adults over 60. And if you're watching today, tell me your age and where you're watching from in the comments below. I read as many comments as possible, and I love hearing from our growing community around the world. Now let's begin. The first thing you need to understand is that the word normal can be incredibly misleading. Most people assume that normal means healthy. They assume it means safe. They assume it means there's nothing to worry about. But in medicine, normal often means something very different. It simply means you haven't yet crossed a line that qualifies for a diagnosis. Think of it like driving toward a cliff. Imagine there's a warning sign placed 100 feet before the edge. Just because you haven't reached the sign yet doesn't mean you're safe. You're still getting closer to danger with every mile. Blood sugar works in a very similar way. The thresholds doctors use to diagnose diabetes are useful for identifying disease, but they were never designed to tell you what level is optimal for healthy aging. And that's where many older adults unknowingly get into trouble. Because the damage associated with elevated blood sugar doesn't suddenly begin the day you become diabetic. It begins gradually, often years earlier. Every small increase in blood sugar places a little more stress on your arteries, your heart, your kidneys, your eyes, and perhaps most concerning of all, your brain. One of the largest studies ever conducted on this topic followed thousands of adults over many years. Researchers discovered something remarkable. The risk of death from heart disease and other causes increased steadily as blood sugar levels rose, even while participants remained within what doctors considered the normal range. Let that sink in for a moment. Two people can both be told they have normal blood sugar. Yet one may face a significantly higher risk of future disease simply because their glucose level sits near the upper end of that range. This is why I always encourage people over 60 to stop asking, "Is my blood sugar normal?" and start asking, "Is my blood sugar optimal?" Because those are two very different questions. And nowhere is this distinction more important than when it comes to your brain. Before I reveal what researchers discovered about dementia, I want you to consider something. Dementia doesn't appear overnight. Memory loss doesn't suddenly arrive one morning without warning. The processes that contribute to cognitive decline often begin years, sometimes decades, before symptoms appear. Researchers publishing in one of the world's most respected medical journals followed thousands of older adults who did not have diabetes. They wanted to understand whether blood sugar affected brain health even before diabetes developed. What they found was astonishing. Individuals with higher average blood sugar levels faced a significantly greater risk of developing dementia later in life, despite never receiving a diabetes diagnosis. That's right, they weren't diabetic. Yet their brains were still being affected. Scientists believe one reason is that excess glucose damages the tiny blood vessels that nourish brain tissue. Over time, this can reduce blood flow, increase inflammation, and accelerate age-related decline. But that's only part of the story. Sugar also contributes to the formation of compounds known as advanced glycation end products, often called AGEs. These compounds act almost like rust inside the body. They damage proteins. They stiffen arteries. They increase inflammation. and they accelerate the aging process itself. Think about what happens when metal slowly rusts year after year. It becomes weaker, less flexible, less reliable. Something similar can happen inside your body when blood sugar remains higher than optimal for long periods. And this becomes especially important after age 60, because aging changes the way your body handles glucose. As we grow older, our muscles become less responsive to insulin. Our pancreas becomes less efficient at producing insulin. Our metabolism slows, and many of us become less physically active than we were in earlier decades. The result is that blood sugar gradually rises, often without producing any obvious symptoms. You may feel perfectly fine. You may have plenty of energy. You may believe everything is under control. Yet beneath the surface, your blood vessels may be experiencing stress every single day. That's why elevated blood sugar is often called a silent threat. It rarely announces its presence until significant damage has already occurred. And here's something many people don't realize. The exact same blood sugar level that may cause minimal problems at age 30 can become much more dangerous at age 65. Older arteries are more vulnerable. Older brains are more vulnerable. Older hearts are more vulnerable, which means that maintaining healthy blood sugar becomes increasingly important with every passing decade. Now at this point, you might be thinking, okay, Dr. David, if lower blood sugar is better, shouldn't I try to get my blood sugar as low as possible? That's a logical question. In fact, many doctors believed exactly that for years. But then one groundbreaking study changed everything. And what researchers discovered shocked the entire medical community. That study was called ACCORD, and to this day, it remains one of the most influential diabetes studies ever conducted. Researchers enrolled more than 10,000 adults with type 2 diabetes, many of them in their 60s, and asked a question that seemed obvious at the time. If high blood sugar is dangerous, then shouldn't lowering it as much as possible lead to better health and longer life? So one group received intensive treatment designed to push blood sugar levels very close to normal. The other group followed a more moderate treatment plan. Everyone expected the aggressively treated group to come out ahead. But what happened next surprised doctors around the world. The trial was stopped early because the intensive treatment group experienced a higher risk of death than the standard treatment group. Researchers found that aggressively forcing blood sugar down with medications did not produce the benefits many had expected and was associated with increased mortality risk. Suddenly, the conversation changed. Doctors realized that lower is not always better, especially when those lower numbers are achieved through aggressive medication strategies that can increase the risk of severe hypoglycemia. Severe low blood sugar can be frightening at any age, but after 60 it can become particularly dangerous. Imagine becoming dizzy while walking down a staircase. Imagine feeling confused while driving. Imagine falling in your kitchen and hitting your head because your blood sugar suddenly crashed. These are not minor inconveniences. They can become life-changing events. This is why the most important question isn't simply, what is your blood sugar number? The most important question is, how did you get there? Because a naturally healthy blood sugar level is completely different from a medically forced blood sugar level. Let me explain. Imagine two people have exactly the same A1C. On paper, their results look identical. But one person achieved that number through healthy eating, regular walking, strength training, quality sleep, and maintaining a healthy weight. Their body is working efficiently. Their metabolism is functioning the way it was designed to function. The second person achieved that same number only through multiple medications pushing blood sugar downward. The laboratory result may look the same, but the health story behind that number is entirely different. This distinction is one of the most misunderstood concepts in modern medicine. And understanding it can help you make better decisions about your own health. So now let's talk about what you can actually do. Because if you're not taking diabetes medication, the good news is that many of the most powerful blood sugar lowering tools are already available to you. The first tool is sitting on your plate every single day. Food is information for your body. Every meal sends signals that either help stabilize blood sugar or push it higher. One of the biggest mistakes older adults make is believing that all carbohydrates are created equal. They're not. A bowl of lentils affects your body very differently than a glazed donut. A plate of vegetables behaves very differently than sugary breakfast cereal. Whole foods tend to release glucose slowly. Ultra-processed foods often flood the bloodstream with sugar in a short period of time. Over months and years, those repeated spikes can take a toll. That's why I encourage people over 60 to focus on vegetables, beans, lentils, nuts, seeds, healthy proteins, and minimally processed foods whenever possible. These foods help create a steadier, healthier blood sugar response. The second tool is one that many people overlook. It's not a supplement. It's not a medication. It's muscle. If you've watched this channel before, I talk about muscle often. And that's because muscle is one of the greatest predictors of healthy aging. But muscle also acts like a storage tank for glucose. The more healthy muscle you maintain, the better your body can handle blood sugar. That's why even a simple walk after a meal can make such a difference. Just 10 or 15 minutes of movement after eating can help your muscles absorb glucose and reduce blood sugar spikes. And if you're able to include resistance training a few times each week, the benefits can be even greater. The third tool is sleep. Unfortunately, sleep is often sacrificed in modern life. Yet poor sleep can increase insulin resistance surprisingly quickly. After just a few nights of inadequate sleep, blood sugar control becomes more difficult. Appetite increases, cravings increase, energy drops, and your body becomes less efficient at regulating glucose. That's why protecting your sleep is one of the most powerful things you can do for both your metabolism and your brain. The fourth tool is maintaining a healthy waistline. This isn't about fitting into old clothes. It's about reducing the harmful effects of excess abdominal fat. Fat around the midsection is metabolically active. It produces inflammatory chemicals that make insulin resistance worse. Even a modest reduction in abdominal fat can improve blood sugar control and reduce long-term health risks. Before I reveal the blood sugar targets many experts consider ideal for healthy aging, I want to pause for a moment and ask you something. If you've made it this far into the video, type the word healthy in the comments below. It's always inspiring to see how many people are committed to taking control of their health after 60. And while you're there, let me know your age. I love seeing viewers in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s proving that healthy aging is possible. Now let's talk about targets. If you are not taking diabetes medication, many experts encourage aiming for fasting blood sugar levels comfortably below the prediabetic range and maintaining an A1C below the threshold associated with increased metabolic risk. However, the exact target should always be discussed with your healthcare provider because every person is different. The key message is this: don't think of the diabetes cutoff as a finish line. Think of it as a warning sign. Your goal is not simply to avoid disease. Your goal is to create the healthiest environment possible for your heart, your brain, your blood vessels, and your future self. But if you are taking diabetes medications, especially insulin or medications that can cause low blood sugar, then everything changes. Your safest target may intentionally be higher. Your doctor may actually want your blood sugar to stay above levels that would be considered ideal for someone not taking medication. And that's because preventing dangerous hypoglycemia becomes just as important as controlling high blood sugar. So please never adjust medications on your own. Never chase lower numbers because of something you heard online. Work closely with your healthcare team and follow the target range that has been personalized specifically for you. As we come to the end of today's video, I want you to remember one thing above all else. Normal does not always mean optimal. A blood sugar result that avoids a diabetes diagnosis may still leave room for improvement. Small changes made consistently over time can have a profound impact on how you feel, how you think, and how well you age. Your future brain is being shaped by the choices you make today. Your future heart is being shaped by the choices you make today. And your future quality of life is being shaped by the choices you make today. So don't wait for a diagnosis to start taking action. Start now. Eat a little better. Walk a little more. Build a little muscle. Sleep a little longer. Because those small daily decisions may end up protecting the things that matter most. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with a friend or family member over the age of 60. You never know whose life this information might change. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, stay active, and I'll see you in the next video.